Wow. It is 9:46 a.m. on Thursday, and Gavin just popped open a Bodega Limerita.
8% alcohol.
And this is Gatriarchs.
Gatriarchs. What does Gatriarchs mean to you? What the hell is this? What are we doing? What have you dragged me into?
Well, we are Gatriarchs, right? We are the heads of our family who are gay, and we're not matriarchs, and we don't want to be patriarchs. We're Gatriarchs, right?
I think it's genius.
It feels like a fun, authoritative position that doesn't step on any other people. Like, I feel like when you say, like, I'm the patriarch of the family, that feels like the little woman's at home, which we don't like. Mm-hmm. And if I'm the matriarch, we're not women. It just doesn't feel right. But, like, Gatriarchs, we are Gatriarchs. We are the heads of the gay families. We're like the crime bosses of the gay world. The alphabet mafia.
I mean, we are definitely tapping down crime one spilled milk at a time. So I think that makes perfect sense. And I don't want to pat myself on the back, which I can't because you're the one who came up with this. But I think that we have you, David FM Vaughn, FM. Can I call you DFVM? DFV? DFMV?
Mm-hmm.
DFMV?
Mm-hmm. People call me FM.
FM. Oh. Hi, what is your last name again? Nice to meet you, FM.
It's the best Grindr date I've ever been on.
This is a whole new subset of sociology, and I think it makes perfect sense, and I can't wait to forge this path.
Okay, so Gavin, I realize that nobody knows who we are.
Nobody knows who the fuck we are. No, except between maybe 41st and 46th Street, between 9th and 6th Avenue. Nobody knows who we are. So all of those porn shops up and down 9th Avenue,
they know who we are. Yeah,
they know.
Every time I go pick up my check, they know who we are. So let's do a quick intro of who we are. So I'm going to start. So, all right. Hi, everyone. My name is David. I am a father of two. I have two kids. I have a 3.5-year-old boy and a 1-year-old girl via gestational surrogacy. I spent the majority of my life as a actor, Broadway, TV, film, all the things. And then about 10 years ago, I said, I don't know if I want to do that anymore. So I started writing and directing, and now I'm writing for TV and directing a whole bunch of stuff. And I fucking love it. And now I can say professional podcaster to my resume.
Yes.
Gavin, who the fuck are you?
I mean, I'm questioned that every single day of my life. Let me tell you, I am originally from Colorado. I studied international affairs at the University of Colorado, wanted to go be a diplomat, and then I got distracted with theater, and I got distracted by politics, went and worked on a political presidential race, which was super cool.
Trump.
And then, totally, his nascent way before the presidential races in the early aughts. Anyway, and then I chucked that and thought politics took everything out of me. I'm going to go do something really fun. So I literally grabbed a guitar and tap shoes, moved to New York City, and thought, I'm going to go give this a try. And I was really lucky. Had a really, really fun time in New York City doing some shows, some tours, a couple times on Broadway, some one-bit liners in TV occasionally. And then the whole time was thinking, I'm having a lot of fun doing this, but I feel like there's something else I'm supposed to be doing, especially when my partner and I had kids. And which, by the way, are now 9 and 11 years old. And
Wow.
Then here comes the international pandemic, and that forced us to make some choices. And now I am actually running an arts advocacy organization called 4A Arts, the American Alliance of Artists and Audiences. And I am hoping to build it up into, I'll just cut to the chase, the NRA of arts and culture. I want to change the American narrative around arts and culture and change how Congress funds it.
And now you're a career woman.
And now I'm a career woman. But I've always wanted to be on a podcast or host a podcast because ultimately what I really want to do, speaking of being a career woman, is I just want to be Terry Gross. I just want to be Terry Gross when I grow up.
I want that for you. So I think before we move on to our next topic, I think we need to do some speed dating. You and me. So we have prepared 5 questions.
I mean, I didn't prepare. What are you talking about? This is just totally off the cuff.
No, but we don't know each other's questions.
True.
So this is real. We're going to go as fast as we can. I'm going to ask Gavin 5 questions, shotgun style, first answer that comes to your head. Are you ready?
Oh, this kind of thing makes me so anxious because I'm just afraid I'm not going to be funny.
Yeah. You're just going to be tall.
I'm just the tall guy.
And here we go. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Favorite fast food restaurant?
McDonald's.
Favorite musical?
I want to say Legally Blonde, but I know that that's yours too. What could I see? Oh, Rent.
GPA in high school.
3.999. So pissed about that.
Starbucks order.
Iced vanilla doppio.
Guy you'd leave your family for.
George Clooney.
Ding! Just under the buzzer. Good job. Good 5. Good to get to know you.
What's your sign?
Scorpio.
Where would you go tomorrow if you could just pick up, with or without kids, and go for an adventure? Not sitting on a beach, an adventure.
Hiking through the Highlands of Scotland.
Potato chips or chocolate?
Chocolate.
Dive bar or sexy club?
Dive bar.
Can you give us your go-to 16 bars, please? Come on. You have to answer.
Use what you got from the life.
Oh, it's that was how do you do that in 16 bars?
That has literally booked almost every show I've ever been. Like Broadway all the way down to, college.
I don't think it ever got me a job, but I used to use it. But did you use the 16 bars of just the high notes at the end, the whole?
No,
you just
I guess it was technically
15 bars of high notes.
Yeah, it was technically 32. It was just like a and then it just and then the ending part. Yeah. But
you're
you're
not doing it for us though. That's
absolutely
what I was hoping
not. Never in a million years. But it's this perfect. It's upbeat. It's jazzy, but it could be contemporary. But
such
it could
a great
be classic.
song.
It makes a baritone sound like a tenor. I mean, it is the perfect live song, and it booked me all my jobs. So all right, well that was super fun. I learned a lot about Gavin, which I did not know. But listen, we're parents, and parents need some sort of vice, I guess is the right word, but like every parent needs something. It's alcohol, it could be pot, it could be, for those fucking assholes running, fuck you and your 6-pack abs. If every time I was stressed, I went for a run, I would not be doing this stupid fucking podcast. I would be shirtless on Santa Monica Boulevard.
All day long. Yeah. Friday, what is it?
You're too old to say that word. Please don't say that again.
Cut that. Being real. I remember way back when I was first a dad, I remember sitting around trying not to look at my phone with a toddler who was playing with Thomas the Train, organizing her Thomas the Trains just in order of color and largest, smallest, and blah, 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 trying not to look at my phone because I felt like, hey, these are the I really wanted this to happen. I invested in this, right? I wanted it to happen. I want to sit with her and just watch her do her trains. And oh my God, it's so just absolutely mindless and mind numbing. And while I was there, in the time that I was wanting to put my phone down, I was still scrolling through the New York Times, and I found an op-ed about a guy who said, I am such a better dad now that I smoke pot. And I thought, and I read it, and it was all about him being like, you know what, frankly, in my experience, I'm much more focused, I'm calmer, I don't need to look at my phone, I zone in with my kid. And I thought, that's so interesting. Could that be me? And I actually have not experimented. I was not toking up with the 2-year-old at 9 o'clock in the morning, organizing Thomas the Train. Instead, I am
Lima Rita from the bodega on 9th Avenue at 9 a.m. Yes. But here's the thing. Here's 2 things I always tell people about parenting, and I think are like my secret powers. One is either be 100% with your daughter watching her play with trains with no phone, or be totally out. Because try to straddle the two. Try to be like, oh yeah, that's really good, honey, while you're trying to check your email or answer a work call. Is a fucking nightmare. Yeah. And I think it's actually better for them if you are just out of the room doing something separate or 100% in. And the other thing I always say is, and this is my only piece of parenting advice, although trust me, you're gonna hear a lot of it, is prioritize yourself. And that sounds crazy. Oh my God, you're over kids. Prioritizing yourself and your mental health and just your spirit. It's like putting your mask on before you put the mask on others. You have to be in good shape to be a good parent. So if you're burnt out, you're unhappy, you're bitter, you're jaded, you are a terrible parent, whether you're there or not. But if you prioritize yourself, and I don't mean like don't feed your kids or don't protect them. That's not what I mean. I mean, if you need 3 hours to yourself a week to go do whatever, and that literally can mean whatever, make that the priority first.
So is this actually something that you practice yourself? Because I've heard this advice for a long time. You absolutely have to prioritize yourself. You need to prioritize your relationship. You need to be able to reconnect. I'm terrible at it.
Well, I don't give a fuck about my husband. He can go fuck himself. But yes, no, we do this in practice. So good. Every Sunday for 4 hours, we get a babysitter. Now, sometimes that doesn't happen, right? Sometimes there's just no babysitters available. Sometimes we have other plans. Sometimes we just forget. But we try every Sunday to have 4-hour block. That's just us. Neither of us are working. We have a babysitter, and we can go do anything we want. It can be super fancy, like massages, or it could be just seeing Avatar, or just honestly going to the basement and just like hanging out watching TV, which sounds crazy, right? You're getting a babysitter just so you can watch TV in a different room of the house? Yes. Because I have 2 kids under 4, and there are times when you just like, I could throw this one out the window right now and no one would know. And that's not a great place to be. It is a common place to be.
Absolutely.
We've all considered throwing our infant out the window.
Disclaimer.
However, because of that, prioritizing yourself, putting your mask on before you put the mask on others will make you a better parent. And instead of sitting in front of your kid playing trains and just thinking, God damn it, you can be active and participating in their life because you recharged yourself. You prioritized yourself. What is your piece of advice?
Oh, no. I'm coming back to your piece of advice because I can't get past the fact that it is a Sunday afternoon that you're prioritizing for your babysitting time. I mean, how old do you feel when you're like, oh, it's a Sunday afternoon? And guess what? I am thrilled that it's a Sunday afternoon because I don't have time for a Friday night babysitter. Fuck that.
I'm asleep at 9:15. You think I'm not watching Nailed It and falling asleep at 9:15 in my bed?
Right.
You're crazy.
Sunday afternoons, it does bring it around to the good old days, doesn't it? The so-called good old days that you think a Sunday afternoon is really going to be like you need your stroll time, you need your cruising time, you need your Sunday afternoon time, just like it's a jazz song from the 1920s.
You're so young. You're just a young thing, aren't you?
Such a whippersnapper.
All right, so let's move into our top 3. So this week is my week, and I chose top 3 worst pieces of advice you've received as a parent. So you and I both get nonstop, unsolicited advice as parents.
Nonstop.
And so I wanted to organize what are the top 3 absolute worst pieces of advice you've received.
Okay, can I go first?
You can
go
go
first.
Yep.
And then you go after?
That's
We're
great.
going to go back. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Mine, I think, all have to do with heat or being hot. Okay? Work with me. Somebody said to me one time, I know this is going to seem indulgent and silly, but you should absolutely get a wet wipes warmer. So we got a wet wipes warmer. Let me tell you, that was the dumbest piece of shit.
Awful.
We returned it. Thank you, Target. Thank you, Babies R Us. We returned it because that is just nonsensical. I mean, yes, the idea that your baby, if any of us feels a little cold swipe down there, it is a little bit of a surprise. But the sooner your baby can put up with a cold swipe, the sooner they're not going to freak out about it. Worst advice. Wet wipes warmer. What about you?
Fully agree with that. I feel the same way about bottle warmers. Give it to them cold from the beginning, and they will be used to it.
My baby had ice cubes in their baby formula in their breast milk that we used one time, and I was like, "Oh, there's ice in here. Oh well." And she definitely. I could see a little newborn reaction, but then
she's used to it.
She sucked down her milkshake.
Okay, so my third worst piece of advice: don't wake a sleeping baby. And here's why.
Okay.
I want to know when bedtime is, when the nap is. I want to know, as the baby does, when our schedule happens. So I know that at 8:15 p.m., both kids are asleep, and I can take a gummy and watch The White Lotus. So if the baby is sleeping too late, all I do in my head is go, now bedtime is an hour later, and then the next morning you're going to sleep in late, which will cause daycare to... So I say, keep the schedule, keep it rigid. And obviously if they're sick, that changes if you're going on a vacation or whatever, but don't wake a sleeping baby to me. Bad piece of advice. What's your second worst piece of advice?
I'm sticking with being hot. Keeping a baby warm, that they always love to be warm. There was one time that our newborn, was absolutely freaking out. And of course, there's so many freakouts that babies have. And that is the biggest challenge of parenting is that you just don't know, especially with a newborn, what it is they're upset about. But then finally, this one particular day, this had been the first time we had ever tried it. We just unsnapped her onesie, and suddenly you could see her physically breathe again. And the idea that babies always want to be warm, I don't think it's all Goldilocks. We all need to be Goldilocks, just, not too warm, not too hot. And that translates then further into advice 2.0, I guess, is fighting my kid wearing a jacket on the way to school when we used to do our 20-minute walk to school, and she just fought me and fought me and fought me, and finally I'm like, why am I doing this? The only reason I'm putting a jacket on is so that the other parents don't judge me. She walked with her jacket either, I don't know, off or unzipped, and it was 32 degrees, but you know what? She didn't get sick and she was happier, and consequently I was happier.
Yep. So my number 2, it's a little blue, so hear me out. It's a little grotesque.
Bring it.
But I have a baby daughter, 11-month-old baby daughter. I have heard nonstop from people, make sure you wipe front to back.
Yes!
Make sure you wipe front to back.
Yes!
Here's the thing. That is okay advice when you think theoretically. Poop is in your butt. I'm going to wipe it so I don't wipe poop into the vagina. That is what they mean. However, as you know, when a baby has a bowel movement in a diaper, the laws of physics don't exist.
Or they take over, and it just spreads everywhere.
Poop defies gravity.
Yes.
So,
It does.
Again, I'm going to try not to be so grotesque, but when she would have poop that was relatively liquidy, it would go up inside of that part. So the direction of which I wiped didn't matter because we were compromised already. So that's not necessarily bad advice, but it is stupid because we have a 5-alarm fire here. Just wipe everywhere and whenever you can. What is your number 1 worst piece of advice you've received?
It definitely, you have made me think about that with the pooping factor and always being prepared with having so many diapers and so many changes of clothing and everything. Is everybody telling me you need to be prepared for anything makes me think, I'm going to give up control thinking I need to be prepared for everything all the time. You just have to improvise so frequently. Stop thinking and fretting and worrying that you aren't prepared enough. Just go out and live your life, and you're gonna figure it out. Our ancestors figured it out with a tree, a twig, some giardia-filled stream, and here we are, now recording a podcast about parenting.
I had a blowout one time with one of my children in a mall, and I didn't have any wipes, and so I dipped Dunkin' Donuts napkins into my iced tea, and that's called evolution.
This episode of Gatriarchs brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts.
We're available for sponsorships. Okay, so my number 1 worst piece of advice that I've ever received, and I've gotten it more than any other advice. Sleep when the baby sleeps.
Yep.
Go.
I'm familiar.
Go fuck yourself. Because when am I going to put shit away? When am I going to do laundry? When do I get to eat food that's not teething crackers and hardened peas that have fallen on the ground? Sleep when the baby sleeps is so fucking stupid, and what it does is it leads new parents astray and says, that's your time to recharge. Okay, great, but then your house you keep falling further and further and further and further behind. So to the new parents out there, sleep when the baby sleeps? No, that's fucking stupid. Yes, turn off your brain a little bit, but you have to do your shit then. What if a lot of parents have full-time jobs? They have to prepare food. They have to prepare the next bottle. When is that next bottle going to be prepared? So I say sleep when the baby sleeps. Stupid fucking advice. Never take it.
And moving forward, let's talk about next week's topic of top 3, okay?
Okay, what's the next week?
I want you and all of our listener to think about the 3 assumptions you made about how fantastic a parent you were going to be before becoming a parent.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so it's special guest time. I'm super... Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm just here for the ride.
Okay, so that's what she said. So our special guest...
Do we need to always say that's what he said, though? Do we need to change the lexicon?
It's referencing The Office and Michael Scott. So.
Of course, but for those of us for those of them who haven't necessarily watched The Office, I mean, that's what she said is just a universal, truism now. So here on Gatriarchs, I think we should change it to that's what he said.
You're exhausting. So our special guest today is a friend of mine, former trainer of mine, personally responsible for the shape I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
Could be a good thing, could be a terrible thing. He is a former Broadway performer like us. Former ballet dancer. He's a trainer. He's an author. He does a million things. He was on TV. He was on a reality show. But
Get to the good stuff.
He's a parent, which we will talk about. But also, he recently won The Amazing Race Canada Season 8. Holy shit.
Oh my God.
We are so excited. My friend and yours, Craig Ramsay. Welcome, Craig.
What about changing it to that's what they said to make it really inclusive?
See, we want to include everyone.
Thank you.
See, there you go. Craig
you.
swooping in
You've
with
already
the fix.
made an impact. And that was great talking to you, Craig. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for
joining us
coming.
today.
We appreciate you being on the podcast. Have
right.
a great day.
You've made a real
Thank you
impact.
for having me, guys.
But wait, Craig, you like Gavin and I, you started in New York City, at least, on Broadway, right? I know you did some ballet in Canada. You're originally from Canada. Tell us about how kind of you got started in the kind of, how did you get to Broadway?
Yeah, with ballet training, I was a ballet bun, and I always had that love and passion for acting and singing too, which doesn't go over well when you're in one of the most prestigious ballet schools in the whole world. But with their definite approval, I went and ventured into musical theater, and shortly thereafter, I got that original pre-Broadway cast of Mamma Mia.
What? That's amazing.
Yeah, so it plucked me from Canada and took me on an incredible national tour of the U.S., which then should have led to Broadway. But instead, I got Fiddler on the Roof. And I felt like after 2.5 years, I was ready for that. And I just, the rest is history.
Did your ballet training prepare you for the step touch, not even pas de bourrée, step touching of Mamma Mia? Or did you ever think to yourself, this is bullshit? Or did you think to yourself, this is so much more fun?
You know, when I think it was Hamilton, when all of that stuff came out about the original cast really helping choreograph and stuff like that, I got so bitter for 2 Counts of 8 because I'm like, we created Mamma Mia. It was a mess, in my opinion, when the British team came over to North America to recreate it, if you will, for an American audience. What they had in the UK, we had a huge influence in changing it. And it was fun. I mean, come on, how lucky am I from small town Canada to then be part of a mega hit musical with like Burt Reynolds stalking our cast. J-Lo was, it was just the hot new thing.
Which is hilarious because I remember seeing that. I had first moved to the city, seeing it on Broadway. It was I walked out of that show like, how dare they talk down to their audience? They are just, this is such a low, like they're not even trying. And it's arguably the most financially successful musical of all time. I've directed it. I have fallen in love with the show since then, but I remember at the time being like, how dare they step touch on Broadway? Literally, how dare they? I will also say that I saw the original reading of In the Heights, and I walked out of it being like, eh. And I'm like, are you like, so don't ever trust anything I say is what basically I'm saying.
We have no taste, and that's fine. The show is not about taste. It's about step touching and embracing the step touch. But
well, do you want me to let you in on some insight that I've never shared about
That's all
Mamma
we
Mia?
want. That's all we want.
The original cast, right before our first preview, if you will, we thought that it was a ridiculous joke. Like David, like we really were like, this is not going to go over well. Our careers are ruined. This is going to be hideous. That first preview performance, when Chiquitita came on, Chiquitita, tell me what's wrong. The audience went insane and they started standing up ovation. So I think the secret recipe for Mamma Mia was that, musicals work so hard to get their songs known and in people's heads, but all of these numbers already were. So regardless of what the book was, when a song presented itself, everyone felt so confident going, I know that song, woohoo! And it just overcame their body and they felt like they were part of the show.
And it wasn't the first jukebox musical, but it certainly was the one that just defined the Broadway movement of like jukebox musicals are a sure thing, right? It was the one that really made a mark for it. Did you think when everyone stood up for Chiquitita, did you think like maybe somebody had a heart attack in the audience? Were you worried about somebody?
No, that was Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. My goodness.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Had three or four people pass away in the audience during that run.
Do you feel personally responsible for their deaths?
Being a part of Chitty, that terrible show, I do. I do. I think all of us should take a little accountability for what that is, especially Adrian Noble, the director. He should be sued.
So before we move on to so many other fantastic elements of your career, which definitely included lots of reality shows and winning the Amazing Race, let's talk for just a second about parenting. Can we? Can you give us a little scope of what your parenting situationship is?
Yeah, for sure. I'm actually going to take it back a little further, if you will, to the our family vacations. Rosie and Kelly at the time had, the chartered cruises for LGBTQ families, and I was a fitness expert on those cruises, and it really inspired me to want to have kids. And this is back early 2000s, and so I fell in love with parenting, if you will. I just loved it. I loved what it could offer me, and because I come from such a great home. My parents are wonderful humans that really were supportive always. Oh, Mercedes Javid from Shaw's of Sunset just is calling.
Fantastic. But just send him to voicemail. Thank you.
Let me mute that.
Yeah.
Sorry, MJ. I'll call you right back. And from there, that's always been pressing on my shoulders, that kind of needed responsibility in my life. So then cut to as I get older and older, and I am in my mid 40s. So back in the day, it wasn't as common as it certainly is now, which I loved. And I'm so glad the young gays are able to have that kind of on their checklist. But for me, it kept getting pushed back. And then in my mid 30s, my husband, his sister is a lesbian, married to Jen, not married at the time because they can't in Utah. And they were deciding to have a child. And they consulted us and said, we're going to need help. Like, will you be proactive in this child's life? Immediately, we said yes, but it terrified me. It's one thing to think about it, and talk about it. It's one thing to then put it into motion. So they bravely had this child, Ryder, and this is 11 years ago. And for all the birthdays and Christmases and such, we were there and on the phone all the time. But I still had my life, right? So I was kind of like a detached parent, like kind of like I would say, like a stepdad that only has limited engagement. Mm-hmm. But then during the pandemic, when things went crazy and we were hunkering down in Palm Springs, we had the girls and Ryder here in Palm Springs for the first 3 months. And then shortly after that, I mean, all of us, I think, during the pandemic got our priorities in line, right? Mm-hmm. And Brandon and I talked about it, and he's older than he's 6 years older, and it just hit a breaking point where we're like, if I'm going to have my own, like my biological child, I'll say, we are going to do this now and get a surrogate. But my biggest concern and Brandon's biggest concern was, how is this going to affect Ryder, who's already we feel like is our child? So we presented to the girls, this is what we're going to do, but we would rather put all of that financial effort and everything into you guys and Ryder, but will you move here? And this is a Friday, and a Monday they put their house for sale, and then within weeks they left their jobs of 20 plus years, and they upped and moved from Utah to Palm Springs, 3 doors down from us. And the rest is history. So we've been full-time proactive parents for the past 3 years.
Which is amazing because, I think often, like Gavin and I are, I would say, heteronormative parents.
Totally.
We're like,
yes,
we are married. We went through gestational surrogacy. Some people do adoption, but the format looks very much kind of traditional, if you will.
We are so old school. This is 1957. We are living out.
You are old, though.
I am old.
I'm old school, but this is something important. This is partly why I was excited to have you, is that there are so many ways to parent that aren't that heteronormative surrogacy adoption kind of route. And it was so amazing that like you said, the pandemic really shifted our brains in a lot of ways, and it really didn't change who you were in Ryder's life. It revealed, right? It revealed that, no, I am a parent to this kid, and I want to be close to my son. And so that actually leads me to my next question, which is a little nuts and bolts, but I think people are interested in it. What do you guys call each other? Like when you refer to Ryder or your sister-in-law or they refer to you, like what are the names you guys use for each other?
And not that I want to get caught up in labels, but what do you tell other people? Like, we are a family of da-da-da. What do you call each other to Ryder, and what do you say to the outer world?
Yeah, I'll start by saying the girls are so generous in calling it co-parenting. I never want to take away the fact that they are his guardians. There is a difference. And he's only known uncles that are his male figures. From Utah, it's kind of tough not to demean their family involvement by any means, because he does have love in his life, but he hasn't known a father. And if you only know two moms, and that's your existence, and this is what I learned from our family vacations, that social influence really doesn't have an impact on you because you know what you know. So uncle, and we're going to keep it consistent. I am his uncle, Uncle Brandon. So the poor kid has to say Mama Bree, Mama Jenny, Uncle Craig, Uncle Brandon. It's a mouth like tongue tie, right?
So many familial pronouns.
Yeah, the kid is challenged all the time because he does look like me, and he's like, blonde and fair, and but all the time everyone's like, you spit that child out of your mouth, and oh, your dad. And at first, for years, he would always almost get a little defensive because he found it demeaning, because there wasn't a dad in his life. He thought that there was a negative stereotype against fathers, and the women, the moms probably overcompensating a bit, or like, you're so lucky to have two moms. So we had to adjust too, because him being out in the world, there's nothing wrong with fathers. Right. So he prizes the word uncle is a father type figure to him. And we keep it as is, but we as a collective unit say our family's unique, but he has four parents.
And that's the thing we forget, is that, like, we can talk about each other in a variety of ways, but he is now tasked. He's burdened with the fact that he has to describe his family to his classmates, to other 9-year-olds, to teachers. The thing that blew my mind is when we started having kids, like, forms mm-hmm. of the pediatrician, mm-hmm. who are the emergency contacts, relationship to patient. Those are not as easy to say, right? Who's the mom? Who's the dad? Who's the relationship? Oh, that's my mom. Well, now it's a little different, right? If you are the first person they want to contact, you have to put something on the form. So that is something that's sometimes hard to translate for maybe heterosexuals, is that, like, that sort of exhaustion of having to constantly re-explain how your family works and who is who. It can take its toll a little bit on you.
Well, orientation, even for Ryder at his school, it's a very inclusive and accepting school, but people are going to make mistakes. And in the president of the school kept saying, or principal, I should say, principal said, your mom and dad. Kept saying, oh, your mom or dad, and that. And I said, you really should change that to parent, your mm-hmm. parent. Because he looks at us as a parent. It doesn't need to be labeled as a father.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Parent can be a much more encompassing role, like a label. A parent, many different people can play the role of parent without necessarily being labeled specifically a mother, father, or uncle and aunt. But like an uncle and an aunt can be parenting as well.
I'm currently writing for a preschool show, and we made the decision to, whenever we refer to the parents, we say you're grown-ups. Mm-hmm. And that was on purpose, because some people are living with their grandmother, and that is their grown-up. So we wanted to make sure we had a term that was all-encompassing and inclusive, but didn't feel strange. And so we often use grown-ups. But that's another kind of did you just put a shot of Bailey's in your coffee, Craig?
I hope so.
No. Yes. I grabbed a pen because I'm writing that great tip down. I'm going to start using that.
We're changing the world.
Changing the world.
Even super famous people like Craig, who, can we just slightly shift topics a little bit?
Enough of the pish, 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 pish now.
We are gay in a lot of ways, but we are very gay for The Amazing Race. Now, we are not as familiar with Amazing Race Canada. We had a previous conversation about Phil, the Amazing Race hosts of America. Sometimes he walks the dog on camera, and that was a little bit of conversation we had. But tell us a little bit about, I know you've had a million interviews about this already, but I am so excited to hear kind of your Amazing Race journey in a nutshell, and how it even happened.
Good question. So let me take you back to 2019. Catherine Reeford, who the Broadway people should know who that is. She was in 42nd Street, Oklahoma, and just infamous in the whole world, with things because she has a history with like Justin Timberlake and Jeff Goldblum and such in pop culture. But she also has terminal brain cancer. 9 years ago was diagnosed with this and given 2 to 5 years max to live. And she's such a medical miracle, and she's got 2 beautiful kids. She has a lot to live for, but her passion for dance and the stage has certainly kept her alive. And we did Romeo and Juliet together. We were invited back to the Royal Winnipeg Ballet after a 20 plus year absence from the company because they wanted to honor our acting and our artistry, because Royal Winnipeg's always known for more than just ballet, right? And so when they had us back, they wanted to feature Catherine and how strong she is, but she's compromised. Like, she has no short-term memory. There were so many things that we had to do as a pair behind the scenes, and that I had to challenge her with, okay, this is the counts of 8 beforehand. This is what you have to do dance-wise. How terrifying as performers. Can you imagine?
It's our actor's nightmare, like, is walking on stage and going, I'm in this show and the music's playing. I'm kind of sure where I'm going, but I actually have no idea. So she's living that.
And she forgot that you can't speak in a ballet. Like, she literally is on stage. Her brain is trying to rewire, and she's like, no. And she gives us, and the whole audience is like, she just vocalized.
She is giving her backstory in the midst of her dancing.
Maybe it's actually a stroke of genius.
Might
honestly.
be an improvement.
Yeah.
Might be an improvement.
Yeah. So what we did after that was notice Catherine's brain function working better. Her memory, her short term, her ability to memorize, communicate, form sentences, all of this stuff. So we wanted something. We knew that a challenge was important for Catherine to overcome for her longevity. So then I presented to her, knowing people in the past that have done Amazing Race, and they say it's one of the most satisfying check marks you can have in your life, but it's also one of the most traumatizing because it is so hard. I was like, well, why don't we do Amazing Race Canada? And she thought, she pondered like this, and she's like, absolutely.
Yes.
And because the manifestations are so strong with us, and this is something that I hope all listeners take away from this, is if you envision something and you surrender to it, the likelihood of the universe aligning something in that theme is going to happen. So we decided, if we are going to put our name forward, we have to be ready to do this. And we did. And then we got asked to do the show in early 2020. And then the pandemic, we were packed and ready to go. And the pandemic hit.
We're familiar.
And it was delayed. And it was terrifying because we didn't know every 3 months Catherine gets an MRI. And if it's stable, she has another 3 months. That's it. And lucky for all of us, Catherine's still with us. And 2 years after the pandemic, we got back to it, and we packed up, and we went on the most crazy adventure you can ever imagine, and we won.
And you won, and that is incredible. There's something, I don't know why, when I watch the show, I don't know if you feel this way. I love the show. I love watching it. I imagine myself being on it. I have all the fun you would imagine. My big question, and this is so small, but to me, I'm always thinking about this, is, we'll watch them, they'll finish a leg, and then they cut to the next day when you're starting the next leg. In that meantime, in the time between shots or whatever, is there like kiki happening with the cast? Are you guys like partying at the hotel bar? Are you sequestered? Are you on cell phones? Like what is, when you finish a leg, you land on the mat, you have your little thing, you do your talking heads, and then you don't shoot again till the next day. What is that time frame like? What happens then?
You don't have like an equity required time off between where you get to sleep and have a meal and everybody? And
do you have like a blue cot you can lay on that's very uncomfortable and in the way of everyone in the dressing room?
Yes, absolutely. With basic requirements of comfort.
Our equity rep, our equity cot, no.
Yeah.
No. So the answer is you are isolated. And pre-pandemic, I would imagine it would have been refreshing to be isolated with no phone, no TV, in a hotel room with a loved one. It should be a loved one if you're going on the race with. But with the pandemic, it was triggering for all of us to be isolated again, right? But when you step off that mat, your mics are taken away, a producer takes you away from everything else, everyone else, and you don't see those people again until you start racing for the next leg. And yeah, it's terribly lonely, but it's also a great opportunity to bond with whoever you choose as your race partner.
I can imagine there's a lot of jerking off in the lobby bathroom.
You can't use the lobby bathroom. Like I mean, it's
you're like sequestered to your room.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, they do Canada. I can't speak for the American show, but
which is probably well. Never mind.
I think it's
a joke here.
I think it's the same. I think a lot of the format's the same, but the producers did an incredible job in making it authentic, and what you see is what you get as far as like who's placing what, and like they can't eliminate the main themes, but it is really tough to do a show where you're filmed so much and unlike anything I've ever done, and it's so limited, right? You like, for instance, they didn't even mention I'm gay. They didn't mention I have a husband, nothing. I was there to support Catherine's story, which I'm proud about, but you really are narrowed down to just a very simple character on Amazing Race.
Yeah, you often see like brothers, twins, coworkers. Now, how did that feel? Did you feel somewhat minimalized or hidden at all? Or did you just feel like Catherine's story was more important? Or did you feel like, did you feel a little slighted?
I mean, all the above. I'm there for Catherine in this. There's no other partner I could have done this with. But I do, and I've expressed this, as I'm so grateful for the whole experience in that, but why was I not mentioned at all? I mean, I know I did this aerobics challenge, and that outed me, certainly, the 80s aerobics. Everyone from coast to coast knew I'm homosexual from that performance.
Look at her dance to that music. She knows what she's doing.
The best ass south of 14th Street or in Manitoba.
Winnipeg. Yeah.
Winnipeg.
Oh, but that I really wish that it was further expressed and shown, because I'm very proud of who I am, and I think the community slightly came down on me. Like that Extra magazine didn't even run an article on us, and it's the fourth of the 5 past seasons, the 4th season that an LGBTQ person has won the Amazing Race Canada, which speaks volumes in what kind of talents and things that we as a community have been able to overcome. We can do anything.
Yeah. And I think part of it is also we are now in the next stage, I think, of representation where like we wanted to participate in a variety of things, TV shows, visibility and game shows. But now we're going from like, there's the gay guy to like, well, beyond that, what are they also? They are an author and a dancer and a this and a father, right? A father to Ryder, a husband to Brandon. And so I think that is another thing that we often feel is like, oh, but you're just not the gay guy who won. You're Craig,
right,
who is a father and who is a husband and who is super famous and who is $250,000 richer from having been on The Amazing Race Canada.
Bravo.
Now, to be fair, $250,000 Canadian, which I think is like $18 here. Is that what that is?
Tax-free.
Motherfucker, tax-free.
But still Canadian, so...
Yeah, and a Silverado ZR2, if you will.
Oh,
is that a truck?
Canada.
Oh, yeah, it is a truck. Listen, I shocked everyone. Our crew, when we jumped into that Silverado, and I'm very familiar with driving trucks because I just love them. I knew that Silverado in and out. In fact, I think I switched partners, and Catherine was no longer my partner. That ZR2 was my partner, and I drove the crap out of that.
You dumped her on the side of the road, skidded off, shot dirt in her face, and you were gone.
We won that leg, the Silverado leg, which was episode 9 in New Brunswick. So Silverado helped. You hear how my voice even lowered when I'm talking about the Silverado?
100%.
Like
We can
desperate.
relate. We're very tied into how we sound constantly here, whether it's resonant or mask top or mask whatever. And so, yeah, we get it. We are with you 100%. So in the interest of, you mentioned manifesting this experience on The Amazing Race, which is, I think it's fantastic. And you actually specified you want to share that message with listeners that, listen, you have to put it out there, what you believe and what you want to see for yourself. What is your advice to parents that might be along the lines of manifesting? But like we talk a lot about, what is the advice? What is the unsolicited advice you can get from Gatriarchs here?
Don't control the outcome. Like even with me wanting to fulfill my parenting desires, right? Did it end up looking like what my brain would have taken over and foreseen? No, it doesn't. But is it the most satisfying thing in my life? Absolutely. So throw out there what you want, but also just go for the ride and let the universe take you on that roller coaster, ups and downs, and have it guide you to what's going to be most appropriate for you and your child's needs.
That's amazing. And you know what?
Love
It
it.
reminds me of one of my favorite quotes of all time. And this it's going to get real gay. So prepare yourself.
Bring it.
Anne
Yes.
Ranking once said to me, or I was in the room when she said, you'll always achieve your dreams, just never in the way you planned. And I think about that every time something happens in my life, because I think about becoming a parent, being on Broadway, being a writer, all of the things that have happened in my life have never once happened the way I planned and the way I kind of played the movie in my head. But it happened. And I look back and I'm like, I would have never planned this, but oh my God, am I so glad, like you're saying, that this is the way it happened. And I was ready for it when it came, but it wasn't the thing I had prescribed already.
Can I tell you my aunt? I have an Anne story.
Please.
Oh, but please,
Go
we
ahead.
could go a list. Yes. Go.
Okay, Fosse tour, but the most recent one, right? Like I don't know, 8 years ago or whatnot. Rehearsing 42nd Street Studios. My friend Liz played and was musical director, so she was playing the piano. She asked me to come page turn. Terrible idea, terrible. So I'm sitting there and I'm just way behind, and Anne is aware of everything, and she says, "Please focus on the page turning." Unless you think you can come up and do better.
Well,
Oh shit.
Well.
She called you out, and did you answer the phone?
Oh yeah.
we're going to see it. And here we
Velma
go.
takes the stand. I went up there and I took the stand. I totally went like whap with my leg behind my head, like whap. And here onto like full on 210 like that. And all she did, and then I just walked slowly like back to the bench. And she just looked at me like that. And she goes, moving on.
Wow. Honestly, no, having known Annie as long as I have, that is high praise right there. Moving on. She didn't have the last word. She was like, you know what?
I'm gonna
Craig
change
just gave
the
me
topic.
a 210, which I've never heard, but I will keep
Nope.
forever.
We're
A
Googling
210. A 210. And you know what? The fact that you had the balls and the audacity to take the challenge, because most people would have just cowered. Most people are like, yes, ma'am. But you, because she is, listen, I've worked with her for a long time. She is intense, the most intense person I've ever worked for, but never in a, I don't know if your experience, but never in a mean way, even though it may have come across as mean, always in the, I want the best. I want the best out of all of you. And it is terrifying.
So moving on from this incredible example of name dropping, and I worked with Anne King. Well, Anne Ranking, but I call her Annie. But I've worked with Annie for years. Can you give us one or two anecdotes from your performing days of this crazy thing happened on stage one time?
Sure. I mean, I'll give word to my cat story. Do you want my cat's?
I absolutely
infamous
want your cat story.
Okay, so Rum Tum Tugger is on stage the majority of the time. There's only one short break to pee, and I always took that opportunity. Susie McMonigal was there as Grisabella, and she always distracted me. And this one was a little too long, so I started missing my time frame to go pee. So I rushed it, and as I was doing that, and the costume's really tough to get on and off, especially for me because I'm big. I'm a big pussy cat, right? And I hear over the speaker, Craig, you're late for your places. Craig Ramsay to the rafters. Craig Ramsay to the rafters. So I had to run up, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Just made it in time, and I'm standing there, and I'm a little chilly, right? Like I'm a little cold, like I'm a wet cat.
Uh-oh.
And I look down, and I'm coming in from the ceiling in this production in Chicago, and I see dripping coming from my fur. You know, the fur vest that pops up like this. So I piss soaked my fur. And I peed all into it. Barely a drop probably got into the toilet. And all the kittens are underneath me, and it's raining. And I'm lowered in, and I'm in shock. And on a good day, it's hard for me to remember Cat's lyrics, right? It just doesn't make any sense. So I'm trying to sing the song, the Rum Tum Tugger, push the cats away, and I'm like, don't come near me, like this. And then someone behind, one of the kittens in the show, has to flip the collar. And so all the kittens are in front of me, and she comes behind. I'm like, no. It gets flipped and piss soaks the whole cast.
Oh, Craig,
It's so glamorous. So glamorous.
as a fellow performer, we know that this is why we do it, is the things that go wrong. I think that might be my favorite story. That is fantastic that you soaked an entire company of professional dancers with your own piss.
Do you think Anne Reinking ever pissed her costume or soaked her companies?
All the time. I mean, come on, you have to. It's like she got the Tony Award.
Yeah.
Piss always comes with the Tony Award.
And that's it. And that is, I think, where we need to leave this, because that is piss comes with a Tony Award, just in quotes, and then Craig Ramsay on the bottom. Thank you so much for joining our stupid podcast and talking about all the things. We are so happy to have you here.
And may I say thank you for representing families that are making the world a better place and expanding the notion of how to, again, make the world a better place and help kids be seen, heard, and loved in ways that are leading us into the future.
Parenting is the biggest responsibility ever, but it's also the most rewarding.
Thank you so much. So let's close the show with something great. Gavin, what's something great that's happened to you this week?
This morning, so last night we had a little tension going to bed when I was putting my kids down, and because it was the end of the day, and I am still so lucky that this morning, as I was on the train before 6 a.m. to come down and record this fantastic episode with you, that I was texting with my daughter, who is now of age that she has her own phone. I know we'll return to that, but she did text me, love you, love you, love you, and then gave me 4 heart emojis and a poop. And that made my day.
She knows you. She knows you.
She does.
She knows you love and poop.
4 hearts and a poop. Fills my whole being.
Well, my something great, I was hoping it would be very different than yours. Like maybe it's an app or whatever, but something similar. So in our kind of household, the way my husband and I divide up chores, like I tend to cook all the time. I'm the one who prepares all the meals or whatever. And right, you know, my 3-year-old fucking hates everything I make, right? But whatever. I made dinner and we were all just kind of sitting around, and my son's name is Emmett, and Emmett just kind of looked at me and he went, "Daddy, you're such a good cook." And I was like, thank you.
Yep.
Keep in mind,
lost it.
5 minutes before that, I was ready to drop him off at the fire station.
Because he was an asshole.
Because he was a fucking asshole. But he just, it's those things where like nobody prompted him. Nobody said, say hello to your grandmother.
Yep.
He just was thinking about, Dad cooks all the time. We bake together, do all these things. Dad, you're a good cook. And I was like, fuck, that's great.
It makes it worth it. It really does. It makes it worth it.
And that's our show. The Gatriarchs podcast is produced by us. If you have any comments, suggestions, or general compliments, which we always take, you can email us at gatriarchspodcast@gmail.com.
Or DM us on Instagram. Our handle is @gatriarchspodcast. On the internet, David is @DavidFMVaughn everywhere.
And Gavin is @Gavin Lodge on nothing.
Thanks. We'll see you next time on another episode of Gatriarchs.